All right, 1101, here is our third week right now. As of you all watching this video, you have turned in your narrative essay. Essays usually have a turnaround window of about 2 weeks. So the limit is 2 weeks, so I will get them back to you within that time. Your class and homework from the first reader selections and the first exercises you did in the SCC text are now back. Doesn't look like everybody did them, so make sure you are doing your work, because accruing zeros is going to get you into a hole that at a certain point is pretty much impossible to get out of. And I don't really have the time or the ability to grant extension after extension to student after student, because then the whole course becomes very confusing. I have to keep track of individual students more than what's necessary. And anyway, you all should be doing your work on time anyway. And if you need an extension, if you have a valid excuse, I'm happy to work with you. Okay? So, be accountable and do what you have to do, please. Also, make sure you all are watching these videos and reading the weekly announcements, because they will tell you what's going on. Of course, if you have a question, you need clarification on something, I need to make something clear for you, I'm happy to do that. But it doesn't look like everybody is reading the announcement and watching the video, so please make sure you're doing that. We're moving on to a new mode of discourse. Remember, we are focusing on 4 of them: narration, description, argument and persuasion, and MLA research. When we get to the second half of the term, we are going to work on adding to and bettering our first 4 essays for each mode of discourse. We're going to move on to the other modes of discourse, but we're not going to write essays on them. Instead, we're going to work on bettering and expanding on these essays that we're working on for the first half of the term. Okay? So the next mode of discourse is description. Okay? So your object here is to use descriptors and modifiers to create a vivid word picture. Now, your essay isn't due this week. That's going to be due the following week. You kind of get the sense of how we're doing things here. We have a week of reading in our reader and working on exercises in our SCC text. The following week is an essay week. Rinse, repeat. Okay? Also, we're incorporating a new aspect, a new element to the course this week: the blog. So last week you all had a journal to do, which is mandatory. You must do the journals. The blogs, however, are voluntary. You don't have to do a blog. However, it behooves you to do a blog contribution, because if you do, I think we have 3 blog opportunities. Each time you contribute to a blog, you're going to get bonus points on your MLA research essay. Okay? So it's a great way to boost your grade on that research essay coming up in probably around October, somewhere in October, mid to late October, that research essay will be due. So it's a good idea to do the blogs. I'm going to be participating with you in the blogs. You'll notice in the discussion forums and the journals, I look at some of them and interact with you all, respond to your postings. I'll do the same thing in the blog. So while you don't have to do it, it's highly recommended that you do. I can't tell you how many times students have been in between 2 grades on that final paper, and then having done the blog, it pushes them over the edge, getting them from a B to an A, a C to a B, what have you. So I do recommend that you contribute to the blog, and the blog just asks you to reflect on the first week's readings. So Shooting an Elephant and My Mother Never Worked. You could also, I didn't mention this in the blog, but you could also incorporate the Matt Taibbi piece on cancel culture. And all I want you to say out of those pieces, out of those readings, which is your favorite and why? Or maybe which is your least favorite and why? Okay? Just very simple. about a paragraph or so ought to do it, okay? As for your mandatory work this week, it's reading in the reader, the two selections, E.B. White, who wrote Stuart Little in Charlotte's Web, an essay, Once More to the Lake, which is just one of my absolute favorites, having to do all about time and passing on family traditions, father to son. And then Bickman Wynn's Goodbye to My Twinkie Days, which is a really interesting account of an immigrant's assimilation into America and American culture, using the Twinkie as a way to do that. It's pretty interesting. So those are the two reader selections to read. So when you click in the 1101 reader on the left-hand side of your Blackboard screen, you'll go ahead and then you'll click description and you'll see the reading selections therein. As far as the SCC work goes, we are going into our Chapter 3, Part 2. So Chapter 3 is Modes of Discourse. Part 2 is our description unit, okay? So the description unit, the exercises are numbers 4 and 5. Number 4 asks you to use these items, night, beach, city, dinner, stranger, in a paragraph. A lot of times students wonder, hey, am I supposed to write a paragraph for each of those things? No, just one single cohesive paragraph that involves each of those things. And what you are to do is use at least 3 of the 5 sentences, or senses rather, for each description, okay? So, for example, night. How can you describe night using 3 of the 5 senses, okay? What about beach? What about city? What about dinner? What about stranger, okay? So one paragraph involving those things in a descriptive fashion. Exercise 5, you need to choose an organizing strategy and execute it in a short paragraph for 3 of the following 6 items: train station, your office, your car, coffee shop, lobby of a movie theater, or a mystery option. So you select 3. And what they mean by an organizing strategy, read the paragraph that is right above exercise 5 to understand what they mean by an organizing strategy, okay? Basically, how do we move in the scene that you're describing? How are we organizing where we're going, who we're seeing? Are we going from room to room, from street to street, from top of the building to the bottom of the building? That's what we mean by an organizing strategy. So make sure you read that little paragraph above exercise 5 for clarification there, okay? I think that basically covers what we are doing in terms of our work today. I just want to let you all know, I didn't say this yet, there are other features to the course. There's a writing center. There's a handbook for grammar. This is all the left-hand side, the buttons there. So take advantage of these things. There are other chapters in the SCC textbook. I believe in our first announcement, I told you all to just kind of earmark them in case you need them. Chapter 1, Introduction to Writing. Chapter 2, the writing process, kind of giving you the building blocks on structure and writing in general. We're diving right into the modes of discourse in the interest of time. But there are also other things you could look at too. There's grammar. We will be looking at research writing, Chapter 4, in due time. So I just want to make you all aware of the other features of our text, okay? And the other features of the class as well, should you choose to take advantage of these things, okay? All right, I think that'll about do it for this week. Steady as she goes. If you guys do what's expected of you, you really, can't go wrong, but don't shoot yourselves in the feet, okay? Because you're going to find that the hole you're digging yourself is going to become too deep to get out of. And I just don't have the ability to throw life preservers left and right this term. So let's all stay together and do what we need to do, and we'll all make out splendidly. Okay? All right, everybody. Good to see you all again, so to speak. And I'll be back next week with another video and another update. Have a good one. Peace.